Hello, Raw Beauty Steve Jobs here. Hey guys, so today's video is going to be another assumptions about me video. So I did one of these videos not that long ago, maybe a few months ago. I will link it up here. Basically, these have been going around all over the internet for a long time. And basically what they are is on my Instagram stories, I had you guys assume things about me and I'm gonna let you know if they're true or not true. So if you guys are interested in hearing the tea, subscribe. Or just keep watching. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. I can't imagine why you wouldn't, because it's very hurtful. All right, so I'm just gonna go down the list, not in any order. You guys, okay, I just have to say, I've read a few of them already. And when I have you guys assume things about me, at first, all of them were like, I assume that you're very nice. I assume that you're a good friend. I'm like, bitch, assume some mean things, come on. Although I don't really like people thinking mean things about me because I'm very sensitive, but also it's gotta be good for a video. It's gotta be a little bit juicy, right, Kathleen? Before we get into the video, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. So you guys know that I've been working with them for the past almost a year. If you guys don't know what HelloFresh is, they are a meal delivery service. They deliver the meals directly to your door each week, and in there you'll get a box, and in there is the bags, and each bag is the meal with all pre-measured out ingredients in there. It's so simple, delicious. The meals are so good. And they're quick and easy. You don't have to be a chef to do it. It's just really foolproof, and I absolutely love everything that I've ever tried from HelloFresh. You can really easily change your delivery days, food preferences, or you can skip a week whenever you need to as well, which is really nice. We got one of the veggie options this week, and that is the Southwest stuffed poblanos. We eat a pretty low carb diet. We eat keto. So we subbed out the quinoa with cauliflower rice and it ended up being really good. We really love the service. It's been so nice not to have to worry about 3 meals each week. There's something for everybody in here, from family recipes, there's calorie smart, vegetarian, and then they have also like a Hall of Fame and craft burgers. In their Hall of Fame, it is all the recipes that people have said are the best, and I would have to completely agree. You can change your food delivery days, food preferences, or you can even skip a week whenever you need to. And because it's just delivered right to your door, you don't have to worry about going to the grocery store all the time or ordering takeout. Because it makes it so easy, it's delivered directly to you. HelloFresh is now from $5.66 per serving.
Spicy?
Really no.
No?
Mm-mm. Really good.
Thumbs up.
Yay! You guys can get $80 off with 8 free meals on your first month of signing up for HelloFresh. If you guys are interested, just go to HelloFresh.com and enter the code RawBeauty80 at checkout. And again, thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring this portion of the video. And now let's get into what you guys assume about me. And I hope you don't assume anything mean, because ow. Ow. I won't say your name. I'll keep it anonymous. This one says that you are now bored of YouTube. I'm not bored of YouTube. I go through ebbs and flows. I go through times, and I think that's just like through the year. Everybody goes through moments where they're like really happy, and then sometimes where you're like kind of down. And in those times, I sort of do step back from YouTube a bit because I don't feel creative or funny or like good or, you know, XYZ. It's really easy to fall into that rut, and then like the first thing to take a hit is usually YouTube for me, because it takes creativity and like ideas and getting up and doing things. But no, I'm not bored of YouTube at all. I actually really like YouTube a lot. I think it's really fun. I get a ton of satisfaction out of making and creating and posting videos. Obviously that's what YouTube is, but there's like this process that comes with it, and I get so much satisfaction out of the creation of a video from start to finish. It's really good. I actually don't get sick of it at all. I love posting videos. I love the feeling of right when you go to post a video and then the comments are rolling in and you can see how people are reacting to it. Those are my favorites. So I'm really not bored of YouTube, but it definitely goes through waves where sometimes it's like all I can do to sit on camera and film, because I personally am just not feeling very good or creative or like with it. Sex is not a priority for you. I would say that it's not true or not true. I don't have much of a libido. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. I think I'm gonna make a full video about it. I've had some people say that they want it. If you're actually interested in watching a full video about that, let me know. I don't know how many of my viewers are actually interested in knowing more about PCOS and like what it does to libido and like body shape and everything, because a lot of my body type and everything that I experience in my life with like hormones and the way I look and all that kind of stuff and just like the way I feel comes from PCOS. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about that, let me know. Libido is definitely something that takes a huge hit for me specifically. I've actually been to the doctor for it and talked to the doctor many times. So I went in one time and I was like, bitch, help. And she was like, I hate to tell you this, but many women who do and don't have PCOS struggle with this. It's not rare to have a low libido. And I was like, what can I do about it? She was like, honestly, you can't really do anything about it. There's hormones and things like that you can take. You can get on birth control and sometimes that can regulate hormones. But if you're not wanting to go in a hormone related route, this is what at least my doctor told me, it's very common and it's super normal. Sometimes we just have lower libidos. And I was like, bitch, that is not the answer I wanted. Over the last few years, it's definitely gotten way better. So it's actually a lot more of a priority to me now. When we were trying to conceive, swear to God, if it wasn't like the last thing I wanted, and I think that comes from it being something that you have to do, it almost took the fun out of it. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like having to do it on like a schedule. And that was like the most stressful time in my entire life when we were trying to conceive. And that was like 5 years long. But as soon as we got that off the table and just started like doing things when we wanted, and as the feelings would come, it increased so much, and all of the anxiety and stress surrounding it went away for me. And then a lot of things really honestly regulated back to normal. Going on keto, actually, it's been a couple of years now. Once I lost a lot of weight, a lot of that came back. So it's actually the last few years, sorry if you're watching this, Dad, have been way, way, way better. And it's become a lot more of an actual priority in my life now than it ever was before. I'd say like most of my early to mid 20s, it was rough. But now we're all good, baby. On that same token, lack of body confidence has inhibited your sex life. No, I would say that's not true. Sometimes, for sure, I'm just not feeling it, but I'm just very honest on those days. Like, if Zach's trying to get fresh on a day where I'm like not feeling hot about myself, sometimes I'll be like, I've never felt uglier. And then it's just like a mutual respect thing. Like, he's not gonna push it, you know? Usually, that's not the case. See, the thing is about my weight and about how I feel, it just is what it is. I look like what I look like, and I don't know, I just try to combat that. Like, if I'm feeling particularly chunky one day, lingerie helps. It really does. If I'm feeling like I don't know, like really self-conscious, just do what you need to do to make that not a problem for me. I don't have that much problem for it anymore. Zach and I have been together for so long that he has seen me in every which way. So it's like there's no secrets anymore. I don't feel self-conscious around him at all. I think if it were like in public or if a bunch of people were seeing me and my naked body, like for sure there'd be a problem there. But we've been together for so long and he's seen everything. So at that point, I just don't feel self-conscious around him whatsoever anymore. You didn't expect YouTube to become your full-time job. Yeah, you're right about that. I always wanted it to be, but I never actually thought it would be a reality. And then when it did start becoming a reality a couple of years ago, it was mind-blowing to me. Still is. Sometimes I look around and not even just sometimes, many times I look around and I'm like, I just can't believe this is even a real thing that exists that people can do. And the fact that you guys watch, it's just crazy. I know I've said this a million times, so I'm not going to go into all that like, but I never expected it to be my actual full-time job. And now that it is, it's just, I'm so afraid of losing it that I hope to God that I never do. So I will cling to hold on to it for as long as possible, because it's just wonderful. You disliked school. Yes and no. I liked school because I liked socializing, but that's pretty much it. I loved getting ready for school. I loved showing up at school. I loved lunch. I loved breaks. I liked chatting with my friends. I liked some classes like typing. I liked computer classes. I liked art. I liked cooking. I liked all the creative classes. I was not very good in school as far as like math, horrific. I got D-minuses every single year in math. Every single year. I just wasn't good at it. There's something about sitting in a classroom and having somebody talk at you, especially when it comes to like equations, and like geometry was one of the hardest for me. It just, there's some parts of math that I can't get that. I can't get it because I can't care. It's like my brain can't care about certain things. I struggled with history in school, which is crazy because now it's like something that interests me the most, but back in high school, I couldn't have cared less. I did really exceptionally well in a lot of classes and exceptionally bad in a lot of others because my attendance, especially senior year, was horrible. My mom died when it was my junior year in high school, and in my senior year, I literally could not have cared less. I could not have cared less about school. I did not try. I skipped so much high school. And especially when you miss a day, like in math, you miss so much. When you miss a day in science, you miss so much. So when you miss a bunch of days, I was super depressed. There was a lot going on. It wasn't good. My grades were absolutely failing. I was failing in almost every class other than like the artistic ones because again, I showed up for those. I loved cooking class. I loved art class, even advanced to like the advanced art classes and stuff in school. But in, classes like science, math, I didn't do that well. but I liked going to school, but mostly to hang out with my friends. You were bullied in school. No, I wasn't bullied in school at all. In my earlier, when I was like younger, I would say I was somewhat bullied. I was always called fat. So if you call that bullying, then I guess, yeah, I was bullied in school. But I didn't really feel that way. I didn't feel like I was bullied in that capacity. Kids were hella mean about my weight, but kids are just dicks. Like, they just are. They say things that are so mean. Like, I remember boys specifically would always comment on my weight, and it was like a common thing. It was very hurtful as a kid. Like, it was obviously like so awful being called fat, and I was called Porky and Pinocchio. Kids would make fun of my nose. People would make fun of my weight all the time. That was like a really common occurrence, is the fat jokes. And like, I had really bad acne as a kid, so I got called pizza face all the time and stuff. I'm like, no, I wasn't bullied at all. And then I'm saying all of this. So yeah, I think technically kids were really, really mean to me and said horrible things to me, but I would combat that with humor a lot. And I think that that is maybe how I got through. I don't know. It was really rough, especially like up until 8th grade, because no boys ever wanted to date me or anything. I was friends with a lot of like I guess they were like the popular crowd. And so compared to them, in my kid mind, I was like the funny fat friend, or like the chubby funny one. That's always how I felt. So I never, like, they would always get the boyfriends and I wouldn't. And they would always, you know, go out and hang out with the boys and party and stuff like that. And then I didn't. And my parents didn't let me as well, you know, probably rightfully so. I guess, was I bullied in school? Technically, not really, but kids would say horrible things. But I wasn't ever beat up, or I wasn't ever like cornered or anything like that. I more or less kept to myself, and people would say horribly mean things to me sometimes, but it's not like they specifically would corner me and pick on me. Like, I mean, kids are fucking dicks, man. Like, I gotta tell you, there was so many times that people would like super make fun of my weight or my acne. And so I started wearing makeup, like especially foundation. I started wearing it really, really young, a lot younger than I think a lot of people, because I was so self-conscious of my skin. I had these big cystic acne when I was really young. I would say like it started in 4th grade, and then it started kind of calming down in about 8th grade, which is, I feel, very opposite. Most people get, you know, pimples and stuff like that in like 8th, 9th, 10th, but mine started going away in high school. But having them really young was rough. I even remember I had a teacher one time call me out in front of the class and say, should you be here? Do you have chicken pox? Are you fucking kidding me? As a teacher, to call a kid like that, I remember where I was standing. I was in 5th grade. I remember I was standing next to Joey. I remember where I was in the classroom. I remember how embarrassed I was. And I remember Joey specifically walking up to me and being like, dude, do you have chicken pox? Because I haven't had them yet. And I was like, no, it's it. It was so horrible. So don't do that to kids, because it's life-threatening. This person says it takes a lot to make you angry. It takes a lot to make me angry. I generally can sort of take any sort of situation and see both sides. I really try to see both sides. When I've finally snapped, I can like lose my shit, but it really takes a lot for me. And I feel like anytime that is the case, it's very justified. I really don't like lose my mind on things. You'll never see me really go off online. I used to, because I used to be such like a loose cannon about my feelings and stuff like that. But I feel like as I've gotten older and just as I've progressed in life, like I really take every situation and analyze it and try to like see everybody's side and like see maybe why a situation could have been done that way. And I try not to like get too riled up about anything. It's not good for me to get that angry about things. And most of the time I can look at big picture, like zoom out, look at the big picture, and then like see the situation. I mean, of course, I'm not perfect, and sometimes I get really freaking mad at situations, but most of the time I try not to lose my shit. This person says you have passions other than makeup, but you feel like you can't talk about them. No, I really don't. Anything that I actually like or am passionate about, you guys know about. I really like painting. I really like gardening. I really like mushrooms. I really like editing videos and editing photos. I like taking photos. I love photography. I love animals. All the things that you guys know about me are the things that I actually like. There's nothing that I hide from you that's like a secret hobby. This person says you're content. Sometimes. I definitely always feel the drive for something more. And I think that's like super human and innate in us, that we just want more, whatever that may be. I don't know if there is ever a time where we completely stop striving for something more and we're just content with where we're at. I think that some people can feel that way. I have not mastered that yet. Anytime that my life gets like perfectly the way that I've always wanted it to be, then it's like, okay, but what's next? You know, there's always something more that you're striving to. And that's almost like frustrating in a way, because it's like, when will I ever just be content? But I think that that's just a part of human nature, that we always are striving for something bigger and more. And I don't know why that is. I wish that it could just get to a point where we're good with where we're at. But I think at that point, then like, what are we working towards, you know? So I think that there will always be things that I'm like wanting more of in my life, or I feel like I've gotten to a really good spot in my life and I feel like my channel's growing and this is great. The house is great. Like everything's all good. But then now I'm looking into next steps in my life. Okay, so what are we going to do next year? Are we going to, you know, buy XYZ? Are we going to get this land? Are we going to do this? Or am I going to start a business? Or am I going to, you know, you start thinking about all the other things that you can do. So yes, while I am certainly happy with my life and I love my life and I am content with where I'm at, I think there will always be something more that I'm striving for. You secretly watch drama channels and keep up with them. Some, there's definitely some that I watch. I wouldn't say I keep up. I feel like I go through times where I won't watch for like a couple of months at a time, and then something will get either recommended to me. I'll be like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Click on a channel, and then now my YouTube recommended just keeps rolling them into me. I definitely know what's going on. 100%. I won't lie and say that I haven't watched drama channels or that I don't know what's going on. With every huge dramatic thing that's ever happened, bitch, you know I know every detail. I don't talk about it and I don't like perpetuate it because I just don't think it's necessary. It doesn't involve me. I'm not going to involve myself. But I do know a lot about what's going on. I like to be informed about what's going on, especially in the industry that I'm in. But also, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I think that many people are interested in drama. Sometimes if I start watching it too often, I can feel myself starting to slip into like caring too much about what other people are doing. So I sort of back off a little bit. But yeah, I definitely have watched a lot of the drama channels. This person says, you refuse to get Botox and lip fillers. At the current time being, yes. But I can't say that I never will. I just think that it's the absolute lowest priority in my life. I don't want to change my lips. I think that for a while there I did. I definitely looked at people with bigger lips and it was like, oh my God, I want those so bad. I've come to accept my face for what it is. I like the look of aging skin. I think it looks really pretty. I don't hate wrinkles. I don't hate smile lines or crow's feet. I think that they're beautiful. I like smaller lips. I just don't care anymore. So it doesn't come from a place for me of any sort of me feeling like I'm better or me feel it, nothing. I don't care. If somebody else wants to get filler, go for it. I think that's perfectly fine. It's your face. If you are informed and you're old enough to make that decision, like go for it. For me, it's the lowest on my priorities list. I'm totally fine with my face. I don't care to change it at all. Maybe later down the line, I might want to get Botox or something, but I'm way too fearful to do anything. I know that the likelihood is it'll probably be perfectly fine and there will be no complications, but because I cannot guarantee that with 100% certainty, I'm just not the bitch to put needles in my face. It's just not me. I just can't. It scares me to think about it. I was gonna get lip filler like a couple of years ago. I was going to get it. I actually called, I scheduled the appointment. I ended up canceling the appointment. I actually went in for a consultation and she was like, we can do it right now. And I was like, absolutely not. There was like the smallest possibility of a complication and I was like, oh, well then I can't. So I think I'm good. You're actually bored of the makeup industry and makeup in general, but you still do it because of the money. I wouldn't say that that's true. I would say that, like I said before, you go through ebbs and flows. A month and a half ago, I was sitting around looking at my makeup room and I was like, there is so much makeup in here that I could never use in all my life. And it's just overwhelming and I just can't see why so many things are still being released. And I was starting to feel really overwhelmed by the amount of makeup. And while I still agree that there's just too many launches and things like that, I even hear more people in the beauty industry right now speaking on that. So I can say that I'm not alone in this. I don't just do it for the money. I actually really still like makeup and I still wear it every single, well, not every single day, but I still wear makeup all the time. I really actually love makeup. I got into this because I love makeup. And I think that like with any job, the more you do it, I would say, look at it like this. Okay, so like you love pie. Okay, you live for it. You bake it all day long. You love everything about it. You love the way it smells, the way it looks, the way it tastes. And then you get a job working as a pie taster at a pie factory and you're eating it all day long and you are watching how it's made and you're seeing all the process that goes into it. And you do that for now 5, 6, 7 years, that once love for something so sought after and coveted becomes so common. And so it's not that you don't love pie anymore. You still think it tastes super awesome, but you've had 80,000 of them now and you've tried all the different pies and you've tried them in 18 different ways. So it's not that you don't like it. I do love it. I love makeup. I actually love sitting down and playing with it and swatching it. I think it's so fun, but it isn't as like coveted and on a pedestal as it once was for me. And I think that that would be that way with anything. thing. It was like that with wildlife. When I first started working with them and I first held a squirrel and fed a squirrel, I was like, and then the 500th squirrel that you fed, you're just feeding it and you're not even watching it. You're just making sure that it's fine and that it's not aspirating. And then you put the squirrel down, and then it's not that you don't like squirrels anymore. It's just become like the norm. It's become your everyday job, you know? And it's not just a job to me, and I don't just do it for the money. Absolutely not. But it is my job and I do make money from it. So at some point, a passion turned into a job, it does start to become something that you do all the time. And so you do get a little jaded towards it. It's not like a bad thing. I think that it's taken on a new role in my life. I used to come home from work and I would take all my makeup off and I would sit down and just have fun with makeup. And now my work is sitting down and having fun with makeup. So it's a balance. I absolutely still love it. I definitely have a lot of it, and I have a lot more experience in the industry now. It's a totally new perspective of how I see and view and talk about makeup now, because it was like 7 years ago that I started and things just evolve and change over time. But no, I definitely still love it. This person says, you drive like shit. I don't actually. I'm like super grandma driver. I don't drive like shit. I drive the speed limit. I follow the rules. And that's the that on that. I am not like a crazy driver whatsoever. I guess it depends on your definition of drive like shit. If driving like shit means driving kind of slow, yeah, you probably think I drive like shit. I just drive the speed limit. I don't speed. I don't like getting pulled over. It's like my number one. Like I absolutely hate getting pulled over because I don't like authority really. I don't like being told what to do. And I feel like when cops pull me over, they make me feel some kind of way, and I don't like that. So I'll do everything in my power to not get pulled over. This person says, you don't like spicy food. No, I do like spicy food. I don't like it too spicy, but I like some kick in my food. I don't want it to be so spicy that it like physically fucking hurts me. Well, a little bit. I'm not like a mild person who's like, ooh, this mild paste salsa is spicy. Not at all. Not at all. You and your husband really don't argue or fight. I may have answered this one before. We do sometimes. It's very rare that we get into fights, that we're like actually arguing and fighting. We have gotten into a few, I would say like in the last year that I can recall, maybe 2, 3, but that's because we're just, I think if you met us in person, you would know, but we're just like the exact same person. Like we are so similar that I know Zach, and if he's getting irritated with me or if something's happened, I have to just leave him alone and we'll be fine. If I push it and I'm trying to argue or I'm trying to resolve the issue, but he's like, we need to take a break from this. Like if I push it, we'll get into an argument. But if I just walk away and leave him alone for like a half hour and then come back and revisit it, then you're fine. What I've discovered about both him and I is that if we are in the heat of it and we're feeling like really annoyed with each other, if we keep it going right then, we'll say things we don't mean and we'll get in an argument that can be avoided. And I feel like this is with anything. Temporary anger goes away. When you're in the heat of the moment, you will feel like, I don't care. I will fight you right now. Like I am so fucking mad that I don't care. I want to scream at you in your face right now. In an hour, you're probably not going to feel that heated, but right now you've got all that adrenaline. You're so mad. Taking a step away is really, really helpful. It's just the anger that's all bottled up in you right now that is making you say these things and feel this way. And if you just take a moment and like breathe and take a step away, you're not going to fight. So that's generally what we do. There have been a couple times where I am just like, it's usually me. I'll be honest, it's usually me. And it's usually something super stupid. So we really don't fight that often anymore. We've been together for so long now. We've been together for 14 years. So we've had our fights in the beginning. And now we know each other so much that I guess we just know each other so well. I know the things that are going to make him mad and he knows the things that are going to make me mad. And we just don't do those things. And then we don't fight. You have major life regrets. Yeah, I definitely have some life regrets, but I also look at things that have happened to me or things that I've done or just like life things that have happened in general as things that have gotten me to where I am. And I wonder if those things are the reason that we're in the place that we're in right now or not. So like, there's definitely things I'm sure if I could go back, I would have done a bit differently, but in the overall of my life, not really. But there are certain things that I've done and said and moments that if I could just fully erase them out of my life, then I would. But I've heard this said all the time, and that is that you never learn from the moments that are like super good. You learn from those shitty moments and you learn from the times that like bad things have happened because of your actions. I wonder if I would be the person that I am today if I didn't do those things that I would take back. You know what I mean? Like if I took back those moments, would I have grown and learned as a person? Maybe not. So Probably not, actually. I probably would do the things that I did so that I can learn from them and be a better person in the future. This person says, I assume that you feel obligated or pressured to be funny for other people or YouTube. I don't feel the pressure to need to be funny. I think I've been this person for my entire life. I'm always the person that needs to make people laugh in the room. I'm always the attention whore is what I've called myself. I am always somebody that like I always want to be that I'm the Chandler, you know, I'm not trying to be the Chandler. I don't feel the need to always be funny. I like to make a situation lighthearted, and I just always see the funny in the situation. So that's just who I am as a person. I'm not putting it on. I'm more low key. I think that that's something that I would say about myself. I'm not always on in my normal life, but I am this person. I am exactly who you see, but I am more low key, I would say. Like if I'm just in a group of friends, I don't always feel the need to be like, joke. But I am that person. This person says, you have a lot of stress and anxiety dreams and have difficulty sleeping. I actually was just talking to my friends about this. No, I don't have difficulty sleeping. I fall right asleep the second my head hits the pillow. Sometimes I overthink right before I go to sleep, but most nights I actually don't. Right when my head hits the pillow, I'm asleep and I wake up in the morning. And that's that. I used to have really bad nightmares. I really haven't in a long time. I don't know really what changed. Sometimes I go through cycles where I'm like having nightmares every night. And my nightmares are like horrific, like people being skinned alive or like cutting me open. They're like horrifying nightmares, but it's rare that I have them anymore. And I'm very thankful for that. Most nights before I go to bed, I actually pray that I don't dream. I don't like dreaming. Some people love it. Some people love like oh, I was, you know, in the fantasy land all night. I don't like it. I'd rather just sleep. I'd prefer not to dream if possible, because most of my dreams, even if they start off good, will end up as a nightmare. I don't know why that is, but no, I sleep really good normally. This person says, you actually hate keto. If I didn't have to eat keto for my brain condition and for PCOS and shit, you bet your bottom dollar that I would not be eating keto. It makes me feel so much better that I actually like it in that way, but it's very restrictive and I don't want to need to be on it. But when I am not on keto, I get such bad symptoms. I balloon so fast with the PCOS. It's like my insulin resistance is so much so that if I eat carbs, like I balloon, I get really bad cluster headaches, especially when I'm eating like a normal standard diet. My head is so bad. I get regular headaches all the time. I get really bad indigestion. My side starts hurting really bad. Just everything is so much worse for me when I'm not eating keto that I will stick to it. I've been off and on of it. I'm not that great at it. Sometimes I have days where I have like a cheat meal or whatever, but for the most part, I've stuck to it. I wish I didn't have to do it. I wish that a more reasonable lifestyle was what I could do, but even just eating fruit and like really reasonable, healthy lifestyle, I get all the bad symptoms again. So maybe I'll kind of mess with it sometimes. But yeah, I don't hate keto, but I'm certainly sick to fuck of it. This person says, you have more money than you portray / do not like to brag. Finances are something that's really difficult to talk about. A lot of people are really curious, but as soon as they know, then it makes knowing the number or knowing the figures makes people automatically think differently of you one way or the other. It's like when you go to a party and you don't know the other person. The first question that most people generally ask is, oh, so what do you do? And I feel like that's a subtle way to like kind of figure out where you can categorize the other person like financially. And I don't know why that is. People feel that way. No, I do not flaunt wealth. No, I never will. It's not something that's ever been important to me. And I'm a very frugal person. I live my life pretty much the same no matter how much money I do or don't make. So I don't feel the need to talk about it because I feel like all it really does is make people think differently of you one way or the other. And it's nobody's business really because it's so insignificant to the character that I am. I just feel like with finances, some people like to talk about it and some people like to make that a part of their identity, and just like it's really important to some people. Yes, it's afforded me some things that I wasn't able to have before, but pretty much as a person, I live the same. I don't excessively buy stuff. I'm super frugal. I am like the most frugal person to exist. So really my life hasn't changed that much no matter how much I make because I still feel like I'm very similar of a person. This person says, you lost your virginity after graduating high school. No, I was a freshman. This person says, you wish you didn't have an internet job so you could live in your off-the-grid dream. You know, if I'm wishing for stuff, I just wish that there was rural internet. Because no, I like the internet. I want to always have it. I hate that I have a dream that's hard to fit with the reality, but I don't need to be fully off grid. It doesn't have to be 100% or none. It can be mostly. So even if I have to be connected to the electric grid and you know, have a well and then have like, you know, there's ways to modify the lifestyle that I want to fit around the job that I have. So no, I think that at first I was really surprised that it's so difficult to find, but it's not been something that I feel like super stuck with. I think that it's just going to take some modifications to get there. This person says, you secretly dislike 3 to 5 people in the beauty community. Oh no, I certainly dislike far more than that. I don't talk about who I dislike because who's got time for that 27-minute long video? This person says, you actually hate gardening. No, I really like gardening. I don't like spiders. I mean, I'm fine. I'm not going to kill them. I'm not going to hurt them. I'm going to leave you where you are. I'm not going to bust your web apart or anything. And that's why. The bug part of gardening I don't love. And I don't love the fact that if we want to leave for a few days, somebody's got to come tend to our garden. That's why I definitely think I want to do a back to Eden garden. If you guys haven't heard of that before, it's a gardening method where like you put down a layer of newspaper, I believe, and then a layer of compost, and then a layer of tree, mulched up tree bark and like plant matter, and then you plant into that, and you don't have to water your garden or do anything to it. Like you just leave it as is. Once you plant into that, it's like a self-sustaining process because you've stopped the weed growth with the newspapers, you've nourished everything, and then the tree bark and like mulched up trees mimic like the forest floor, where obviously nobody's like watering the forest other than when it needs it from the rain, and then like it keeps it and it waters as needed because you've got all of that debris on the forest floor. So that's like the process behind it, and apparently it works really good. You don't have to like water your garden. I love the process of eating food from my garden and harvesting things and like having a garden. There are a couple of parts that I'm like a little bit like, okay, if I miss a day of watering and my whole garden just goes to shit, that's what I don't like. So no, I do love it though. It's really fun. This person says, you and Zach have very vanilla sex. They even wrote LOL because they know how that sounds. No. Sorry. I'm so sorry, but no. I can't believe I even just answered that on YouTube. I'm so sorry. I feel sick. I can't believe I just answered that. Zach, I know you're probably good thinking, bitch, you cannot put that in. Zach, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I asked for jutesy things and they did it. They did it. This person says, you don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's actually one of my favorite flavors. Oh, I love it. You're a morning person. I am a morning person. I love mornings. I'm the most productive in the morning. Coming downstairs, when I have my cup of coffee in the morning, I am so productive. I am not groggy when I wake up in the morning. As soon as I'm awake, I'm awake. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I'm definitely grumpier at night. I can stay up late, but if I stay up past like midnight into that 2, 3, 4 a.m. range, the next day I literally feel hungover. I feel so sick. I just don't like staying up super late because I don't feel good the next day. Yeah, I'm definitely a morning person. So many people said, you're hella kinky with Zach. Okay, how do you know this? Has gardening fallen by the wayside a bit? Just because it's getting to fall time and our garden's kind of dying on its own anyway. It's like the time of year where people start planting their fall gardens or like ripping things out. And we're definitely too late on starting a fall garden. I wish I would have planted pumpkins. But yeah, I would say that I'm not spending as much time in the garden, but it's also like raining every single day. So I'm not spending time out there like loving my luscious leaves of my plants because it's like there's just snails and spiders everywhere. I assume you don't like children. No, I do. I like kids a lot. Kids drain me. Because I don't, okay, we're just gonna get real for a minute. My niece stayed with me and she brought her little friend, and while they were just so sweet to have around, we built forts and we're having ice cream and I made dinner. I have a hard time telling kids that they need to go play on their own. I have a hard time with that. Like, I don't want to make them feel like they're an inconvenience at all. I don't want to make them feel bad for coming to show me like, look what I can do. I always feel bad telling them like, okay, I'm busy right now. So I give them all of my energy and attention. In that comes so much exhaustion. Kids are so exhausting. So I need to find a balance for myself because I'm always like, wow, cool. And I'm like, yeah, show me your drawing. And I like build them a fort. And I'm trying to like make them have such a fun time because I always wanted to be like that fun person that kids like to be around. But being that fun person at level 100 all the time is kind of exhausting. So I do like kids. I think that they're so sweet and fun, but they are like high energy and I don't have that much energy. I'm getting old. So I don't know about having my own kids. I really don't know how I feel about that. I definitely think I probably will. It gives me so much anxiety thinking about it, but I just have to come to a point with myself where it is going to be right for me at the right time. This person says, you're not a movie person. How did you know? I used to love watching movies. As I've gotten older, I'm way less likely to want to watch a movie I haven't seen. I love watching movies I've already seen. If I love a movie, you know I've watched it at least 500 times. Same with the show. But there's something about wanting to sit down and watch a new movie that I haven't seen that I am just not a fan of. I don't know what it is, but it's like, I think it's because when I'm watching a new movie that I haven't seen, I've got my full attention on it. I need to know everything that's happening. And I feel like many times I feel like I could be doing something more productive with that time. And I know that's like the wrong mindset to have. Is sometimes it's good to just sit down and watch a movie. But for me, I'm always like, okay, that's like 2 hours. I could be doing so many things in that 2 hours. So a lot of times I don't sit down and watch a new movie. I do like watching new things. It's just very rare that I want to sit down and watch a new movie. I love having movies on in the background. Like I watch Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and stuff like that constantly, and like The Holiday and Something's Gotta Give, and like there's a lot of movies that I rewatch over and over and over because I can have them on and I can enjoy them without having to give them my undivided attention. Do you know what I mean? So yes, I think you're right on that assumption. This person says you're secretly a really saucy lady. I'd say I am. That you're a biological father to over 700,000 people. Yes, I am. Do you only use cruelty-free makeup on camera and not in everyday life? No, I have kept a lot of non-cruelty-free makeup. Like I kept all of my MAC lipsticks because I just couldn't part with them. I kept some Benefit products, but really, honestly, even with keeping them, no, I have not used them because most of the time if I'm doing makeup on myself, I film it. So no, I really don't. It's all the same makeup that you guys see me try. I do still covet like Pat McGrath products and I can't part with them, but no, pretty much only cruelty-free. This person says, you want to film with Kathleen Lights again, but Miami was too hot. I would love to film with Kathleen again. It was so much fun. She is the best. I don't know if I'll be going back to Miami. It was too hot, and Miami itself, I stayed on Miami Beach, and I didn't like it. It's not that I hated it, but it's just that I hated it. I didn't hate it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I feel like there's a place and a setting for each person, and Miami just wasn't that for me. I liked the more rural parts of Miami that we did go to. So if I did go back, I think I would like go visit the Everglades and stuff, but I wasn't that in love with Miami Beach. Your Myers-Briggs is ISFJ. Editing Kristi here. I got this question wrong. I said I was an INFJ. No, I am an INFP-T, and they call me a mediator. I don't know a ton about what it means, but when I read the whole thing, I was like, bitch, that's me. Person says you're a quick judge of character. I feel like I am. I feel like I judge characters pretty clearly. Sometimes I've been wrong though, because if you do judge a book by its cover, sometimes you're wrong. Like some people that I thought would be really super chill and fun and down to earth and super awesome are like the worst. And sometimes it's the complete opposite. Like you'll meet somebody and they look kind of standoffish and like they look kind of like resting bitch face, and then you're like, oh my God, you're the best ever. You're really over some of the beauty gurus in the beauty community, but just don't say it. Yeah. I don't watch a lot of people in the beauty space. There's definitely some that I've just had enough. I've had enough of a specific like rhetoric surrounding what beauty influencers are or are supposed to be. I just think that it's like, where did that come from? Where did the whole like, here's what it takes to be a beauty influencer like handbook come from, where I feel like everyone takes a page from that and like runs with it. And I don't know why that is, because it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to do XYZ in order to like fit into the beauty crowd. I don't know. I get sick of seeing the same shit all the time and like bad attitudes and like holier than thou behavior and stuff like that. And I feel like it makes the beauty industry look really bad that that's what it's painted as. And maybe that's what it is, and I'm just really naive to it. And that's probably the case, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like to be a part of the beauty community, you don't have to be a high and mighty asshole. Like you just don't have to. We can all get along and we can all do the same thing and we can all thrive and we can all have fun and we can all play with with makeup. And I think when it starts going from just makeup to like relationships and entertainment value versus like actually talking about products and like trying to be helpful for the people that are viewing, and it starts becoming about something that it was never intended to be about, that's when shit starts to go awry and people start to get really insufferable to be around. This person says, your mental health is much worse in real life than is portrayed on social media. No, I wouldn't say that to be the case. I would say I'm very transparent with how I'm feeling on my platform here. Sometimes to a fault, because people will take what you say and run with it, but that's the risk you gotta take when you're on social media, I guess. What I share is what people have to go off of. No, I'd say I'm pretty transparent with what you see. You'll notice that I'm doing pretty good when I'm uploading often or when I have a good attitude online and I'm feeling it, but you'll notice that things can take a dip down sometimes. I think everybody, like I said, ebbs and flows with the way that they feel and the way that their mental state is. I don't put on any act online. Sometimes I don't know, I just feel like I would say it's pretty similar. There's definitely things that have happened in my life and things that have happened even when I'm just doing YouTube and life shit that you guys have no idea about. I do not take it to the internet at all. I don't talk about it, and it contributes to poor mental health. And a lot of times, again, people will take the information that you do give and run with it, and they don't know the full story. If you only knew some of the things that people go through behind the scenes they don't talk about, it would make so much of the other stuff more clear. A lot of people are like, well, then tell us. It's like, there's got to be some things that aren't talked about on the internet. There's definitely things happening behind the scenes that aren't being talked about on social media that can't be, because it's just like too heavy or too much shit going on. It's just, you don't even want to bring light to it on social media. That lends to having a harder time behind the scenes. But I think you guys are pretty intuitive and you can tell when people are going through shit. Person says, you wonder if you'd be a happier version of yourself if you'd never started YouTube. That's a really good one. No, I actually think that I am out of my shell more. I'm more outgoing. I'm more personable. I get life in a different way now because of YouTube. Had I not started YouTube, I wouldn't have met so many of the most amazing friends I have now. Almost all of my best friends in this world come from being on YouTube. And had I not started, I wouldn't have met some of the most amazing people that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. I mean, literally, when I say almost all of my best friends are from YouTube. That's very true. It's really been a fantastic thing to have. And I'm so lucky to have started YouTube when I did. I did not know that it would become what it did. I literally just started it to have community and a hobby as well. And I'm so thankful that I did. I couldn't even fathom what my life would be like right now, or where I would be, or what I would be doing. I have no idea, but I'm so glad I started. I didn't actually go to college. I did not go to college. I did go for some courses. I was a birth doula. I'm actually going to make a video, I think, about all the jobs that I've had and when I worked at them and everything. If you guys would be interested in that, I think it would be a really fun video to do, talking about all the different jobs that I've had. But I did go to a college to get my certification in being a birth doula, but that's it. I never did go to like a university or anything like that. This person says, I hope that you're not hurt that Jacqueline never replies to you. I'm not hurt that Jacqueline never replies to me. I'm not surprised that she doesn't. I want her to know that I meant nothing ill by making that video. I just have to maintain my integrity and my honesty, even if it's uncomfortable to do so. And that is just a part of being a YouTuber who has said since the very beginning that I will be honest no matter what. I can't sugarcoat how I feel. It just is what it is. And it sucks. It sucked to make that video. I did not like making that video. Should I have pulled out my microscope? Probably not. I did it in the moment because I wanted to see what it looked like up close. I don't have a magnifying glass and I had no other way of doing it. I didn't have a macro lens. I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? I whipped out the thing I did have, which is weirdly a microscope at my house. I feel like she went through the ringer. It fucking sucked what she went through. I think the responses were not great. I think it could have been handled a lot better. I think that she's probably not a bad person. We don't know each other. You guys can see how I am with other creators. I like to remain cordial and have friendly relationships. It was just a crappy situation. It sucks that she doesn't reply to me. It sucks that she probably doesn't like me. I probably wouldn't like me either. Editing Kristi again. She doesn't probably like purposefully not reply to me either. You know what I mean? Like, she's busy. I don't think it's like a conscious thought in her head. So anyway, this was like the most long-winded answer to say, no, I get it. I imagine that she probably looks at the whole situation and is like, dude, what the fuck? And a lot of people, a lot of influencers chose not to review the makeup. I feel really guilty about making that video, but it is what it is. I made the video. I said what I said. I didn't lie. I feel like I was fair. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I was just trying to provide information with what I had. I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. If she made a video like that about my brand that I've been busting my ass on for a long time, and I feel like I put my heart and soul into, and then that was the reaction that it had when it came out, if she had made that video and put a microscope up to my lipsticks, I probably would be like, fuck that bitch. But I hope she doesn't feel that way about me. If she does, I do not blame her. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. So that's that on that. Anyway, you literally just asked one tiny little question. This person says, you don't like reality TV. I don't watch TV at all, specifically reality. I don't like it at all. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not the kind of thing that I like. Everyone has different TV that they like. I haven't had cable in over 10 years probably, and I can't see myself ever getting it. I don't like commercials, how like you'll watch a TV program, it'll be a 30-minute show, and it's like 16 minutes of a show and then 14 minutes of commercials. I just think, I don't know, it's just annoying to me. So, no. When I'm terrified is true. You don't see yourself doing YouTube in 5 years. No, I absolutely see myself doing YouTube in 5 years. I see myself doing YouTube as long as it still makes sense and as long as I still want to. And right now, I'm really enjoying working on our second channel, which if you guys don't know about it, which I'm sure you do because I talk about it all the time, is The Sweet Life of Jaclyn Kristi. It's a joint channel with my husband. We talk about gardening. We show like vlogging. We show trips. Like I filmed a mole in my front yard the other day and got some really beautiful macro footage of him. It's stuff that you don't see on this channel. It's not just makeup. It's a lot more like life related, and we talk about lots of different things. So no, I definitely see myself doing YouTube in 5 years. If you guys are still watching, I will still be here. I really enjoy making videos. I love making content. I'm sure things will evolve and change. I can't even imagine what the whole scope of YouTube is going to look like in 5 years, but I will still be here. Most likely, unless something happens, but I can't imagine that it would. Because even if I have kids or even if I have family or if I move, it's still going to be a big part of my life to have social media. It's something that I love. I love interacting with you guys. And I don't know, I can't imagine leaving. I assume you regret the way you spent your early 20s, as many of us do. You know what's interesting? That's such a good, I think this will be the last question that I answer. That's such a good point to make, is that of my entire life, I feel like my 20s were the most lost that I ever was. I would say from like 20 to 28, what was I doing? Who was I? What did I think? I am so different than who I was in those years. So that's why when people say, and I have to tell you this from experience, that you don't really find yourself until you hit 30, they're not lying to you. It's like an actual phenomenon. It's so weird, but especially in my early to mid 20s, who was I? What was I doing? Why did I do and choose to think and do and say the things that I did? I will never know. It's like such an odd time because you're an adult, but you're so not at the same time. That's, I think, something that's a big takeaway for me. Yes, I was old enough to do things, but my choices and decisions and the way that I felt about things and just who I was as a person could not be further from who I am now. And so much of my 20s felt so lost. And I don't know why that is, but even more so than like my teenage years. My teenage years, I feel like I knew what the fuck was up. And as soon as I hit like 22, I was like, I don't know. I just didn't know who I was, what I liked, my own personal style. That's why people are like, you grow into your own style. I did not know any of that. I was just like struggling for the day to day. So if that's where you are right now, just wait. Things will get better. You will come into a person that you feel like is a more rounded version of who you are trying to figure out who you are. I don't know what it is about 20s, but I remember being told this from people who are in their 40s, and they were like, bitch, you're gonna say this about your 30s when you're 40. 20s was a rough time. Okay, 20s was rough. I don't know why. I don't know why it was so difficult, but it just was. And I'm really glad that I'm out of that and I can look back on it and be like, okay, whew, we survived. I think that's all the questions that I'm going to answer today. I feel like this video is already far too long, but thank you guys so much for submitting your assumptions about me on Instagram. I think they're so fun. It's so fun to hear what people think about you versus what you really are. And I think you guys are pretty on the nose. I think I'm very open online and I have been forever. There's not a lot that I hold back on talking about. So it's not like you guys don't know me. You guys know me pretty well. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know all the things about me. So it's really fun to do these videos and see if there are any that are kind of wrong. I like answering those questions. So hope you guys liked this video and that it was somewhat interesting to watch. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not yet. I put out new videos as often as I can, and as I do. Don't forget, you guys can go to HelloFresh.com and enter the code RawBeauty80 at checkout to get 8 free meals. That's $80 off with your first month of signing up with HelloFresh. And I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at my next video. Let's go, baby. Before we guys get into the guys, since you have the meal, what y'all assume about me. Especially too, like going on keto, which is really weird, but as soon as we went on... Steve Jobs here. You're gonna take that and put that in the beginning. It was like that with wildlife. When I first started working with him, I was like, drive away. Like the first question that have kept a lot of non-cruelty free buses. Just like 8,000 buses. Maybe I'll film it today. You like the smell of dirt? Hell yeah.